Okay, so you guys really liked that post about me enabling the off-road menu and changing the splash screen and Bambi mode and all that in the 2019 Ford Ranger USA group. And then you guys were like asking me tons of questions and I really can't keep up, and someone commented saying I should make a tutorial. So that is what I'm doing. Couple things you're gonna need first. Number one, like, just so you guys know, like, total newbie here. I literally just bought the truck in December. I've never used FORScan before, like 3 days ago, but I did a ton of research, so I don't know. Hopefully I can help you guys. But things you're gonna need. Number one, a laptop or PC running Windows. You're gonna need an OBD adapter. I'm using the OBD Link EX. I will put the link to this. I bought it on Amazon for like 60 bucks. Amazon Prime, so it got here like super quick too. I'll put the link in the description of this video so you guys can find that. And then the next thing you're gonna wanna do after you've ordered that and it's on the way is you're gonna wanna go to FORScan.org. Alright, again, like, I'm no pro here, so I'm just gonna like fly through this, but once you go to FORScan.org, you're gonna go to the forum and you are gonna register. Click the register icon here. Fill out your information. It's gonna take a couple days because this is like based in Russia, so you gotta agree and all that, and they will get you on here. I'm gonna log in though just to show you what to do next. Once you've been approved and you've logged in for the first time, you're gonna go to the General and Support Forum, and you're gonna go straight to Standard and Extended Licenses for Windows. So what you're gonna do after you've downloaded FORScan, which it'll show you how to do that here on this, and this will walk you through. I'm not gonna walk you through like installing a program on Windows. It's 2020. I hope you guys can do that by now. But once you've done that, you are going to need to download and install the license key, which it shows you exactly how to do on here. So I'm not going to walk through every little bit of that. Next, I'm going to just show you kind of what to do after you've got FORScan loaded and how to use it in your truck. My truck, it's a 19 Ranger Super Cab XLT 2-wheel drive. You know, nothing crazy, honestly, not very loaded out, but exactly what I needed. Let me show you guys how to get FORScan running and what you can do. I'm going to tell you guys, disclaimer, I am running a tune from 5-Star Tuner. Or 5-Star Tuning, I'm running the 93 Performance tune. My first recommendation, return your car to stock before plugging FORScan in. It's going to encounter all sorts of problems, believe me, I tried, so return it to stock, but we're going to disconnect my tuner from the OBD, and we're going to get us plugged up here. Your next step is to turn your key into the on position. So if you've got a key, just turn it to on without starting it. If you've got a push button, you just push the button without your foot on the brake so that it doesn't start. My advice, disconnect any and all kind of power sources. Turn as much as you can off because you could very well be messing with this stuff for a while. I know the first time I did it, I was on here for like 2 hours. So you really want to be cautious not to drain your battery. I've got my OBD Link EX plugged in. There's a couple other adapters that you can get. I've gotten questions about the MX and the Bluetooth ones and the ELM 327s. Those are all great and they all work. The ELM 327 is like the most common, and it has the toggle switch for high speed and medium speed. I'm not going to go into all of that. This is just my setup because I'm using the OBD Link EX, which can do high speed and medium speed without a toggle switch. Works great for me, and it really wasn't that much more expensive. But let's go ahead and launch FORScan. You're going to go right here into the information icon, and you're going to select Connect down at the bottom. Again, make sure your car is on, but not the engine. You get a little warning message here, and it's going to ask you a couple things. You'll have to just fill out the prompts. Now, you'll see this pop up for me only because this is not my first time running FORScan, but on your first time, it'll actually ask you if you want to save the profile for your vehicle, which I always say yes. Alright, and while we're waiting for all the modules to load, you'll actually know when it's done when at the bottom it says ready. You'll go down to start modifying stuff. You'll go under settings. Excuse me. You'll go under... I don't know what I'm talking about. You'll go to configuration and programming. Now, this is where you can start making changes. There's 2 different configurations here, the module configurations. The ones that are titled as built are in their original hex code, so let's actually show you what that looks like. When you click on it and click the play button, it's going to give you a warning that says, don't change this, blah, 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 blah. Let me show you what that looks like. This is what you're going to see. I don't like playing around with these as much. It's very easy to make a mistake, but it's also very easy to change stuff. There's whole spreadsheets online for like the F-150s and stuff that work pretty well for the Rangers too. I'll include those in the description. There's also a couple crowdsourced, modules on there as well that I'll link down below. My advice to you, if this is your first time doing this, is to just go straight to the ones that are not under as built. So for example, my APIM, which actually is the Sync 3 head unit. I'm going to click play, yes, and it's going to make me confirm that it's Sync 3. You will see all sorts of different options here. This is how you can change the splash screen. This is how you can change whether or not you can get the heated steering wheel or climate control icons to appear on the screen. This is also how you can enable navigation. You still need to get some hardware for that, but from a software perspective, you can enable navigation. But under splash screen, let's hit edit selected, you can change it. We'll go back to the stock splash screen here just so you can see what it looks like. You hit save, and let's go ahead and hit write. It's going to ask you, yes. Okay. You'll actually see my splash screen turned off. It's going to tell me to cycle off the ignition. I will. And see, that's the splash screen that I actually like and what I'm going to change it back to pretty quick. But my advice to open the door, close it. The splash screens, just so you know, may take longer. For whatever reason, it takes the head unit a lot longer to turn off than the PCM, but let's see if it made the change. You're not going to show me. That's alright. You guys get the point. You understand what it does. I am going to switch it back because I really do like the performance one. So we're going to go back, Ford Performance, save, write, yes. Okay, cycle off and on. Off. Open. Close. You guys kind of get how this works. Now, there's a couple that I've been asked about, like the body control module is where you're going to find a lot of your key settings that you're going to mess around with. Just so you guys know, I really do recommend saving before changing anything, just so you can back yourself up here. Don't do anything that's gonna change major PCM codes and then you brick your car. Let's try to avoid doing that, especially since I'm only at 8,000 miles. Alright, but as far as fog lights if high beam is on, this is what's called Bambi mode. That's located under the body control module. I have it enabled so that when I am driving, especially on these back roads here in North Carolina, I can have my auto high beams kick in without turning the fog lights off. And the other question I got was about the instrument panel. Now, if you notice, this does say odometer right. Just so you guys know, you can write the odometer on the instrument panel, but you can only increase the mileage. You cannot decrease it, so be very careful. We're about to do the same thing in the Fusion Sport we have, but only because we're swapping gauge clusters over to the Lincoln MKZ gauge cluster. Alright. Now let me go ahead and find the off-road menu that I was telling you guys about that I actually have enabled on mine. I'll show you what that looks like first, but it shows up under truck info, and you get this off-road menu. You get kind of a steering angle. It's really cool. Two-wheel drive trucks definitely didn't get it, and I think actually only the FX4s did, but somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, let me show you where that is. Alright, that is literally just called off-road gauge. Now you see I have it enabled. You are going to need to enable off-road gauge and off-road screen to make sure that it works properly. You can also change whether or not it's a truck or an SUV that's displayed on there, but once you do that, do this only one at a time and then hit right, just to make sure it does it properly. You don't want to mess anything up. But that is how I did the three major changes, which was the Ford Performance splash screen, the off-road screen, and then Bambi mode. Now, you can do a couple other things like global windows. You can change the accessory power off time. There's all sorts of stuff you can mess around with. Global windows you can really only do if you have one-touch windows all the way around. Also, forgive me, it's only 85 degrees out, but it is so freaking humid because of all this rain that I am just drenched in sweat, and I just showered, so that's great. But yeah, there's so much you can change. Global windows, you do need one-touch windows for that to work, and that's for you to be able to control your windows with your key fob. But yeah, so FORScan is just this software that's able to mess around with all the things that Ford didn't allow us to mess around with before. It's relatively inexpensive, pretty easy to use. There's only a little bit of hardware needed. I do recommend doing your research, watching other videos, not just mine. Please watch some other stuff for the people that are like way more experienced. But yeah, it's really not too difficult, and I'm enjoying it so far. We've only been using it for a few days. We've got some access to some other menus in our Fusion Sport, and I'm really excited to try it on our Fiesta ST when we get that running again too. So if you guys got questions, DM me, comment below. Again, like, I'm no pro, but I'm sure I can help you figure it out or point you at least in the right direction.